Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about defining your career path as a college student. So let's get into it. So the question in question was a small story. Frederick, I love your content. Thank you so much. I discovered it while I was programming, and currently I'm in college and I'm having trouble recognizing what my value as a programmer is. I have a little bit of knowledge about many different types of topics, and I feel like the obvious answer is you are currently worth almost nothing. Do you have any advice for people who need to define their career path more, like myself? So I think that you are brutally honest with yourself, and although I would like to be a feel good person here and tell you that, oh, of course you're worth something, and you are, as a person, you're definitely worth something. As a programmer, you are unfortunately very right. From the perspective of the industry, as a college student who knows a little bit of everything, you're not worth all that much. Your market value is very, very low. It's practically zero before you have at least 1 year of experience, usually. It's in general terms we say you will find if you go to the job postings, the value of a developer, like the start value, is measured in 1 to 5 years of work experience. That's the range of what people are looking for on the job market. Anything under that, it's practically nobody's looking for. And that is a problem. I'm not going to lie to you. It's I would say it's probably the rite of passage of every software developer who wants to get into like serious IT companies and stuff like that, uh, to to get that first year of experience. That's the rite of passage right there. If you get it, on the other hand, that's the silver lining to all of this. I promise you, you will see a massive difference in your popularity as a software developer. It's almost like day and night. You will go from nobody caring about you to having people actually contact you, even if you don't have a very active social media profile or LinkedIn or something like that. You're still going to get people interested in you. And I'm not talking just about like small time companies. Very serious companies will also look for you. So as to address this question about, all right, how do I define my career path? Well, I'm just going to walk you through what I believe your career path should look like if you want the best overall chance. And this is, of course, very subjective, and it doesn't have to mean that this is right for you. But this is, from my perspective, the stable way to get to where you want to be in your career. So, your first priority as a student is to gain weight to your CV. That is the most important thing that you can do when you're a college student, because the second you go out of school, your first priority is going to be to find a job somewhere. Now, most employers, they focus on potential and passion and engagement. That's what they're looking for in their fresh hires. Some companies don't hire juniors, you're going to have to face that, and some companies do. And those are the companies who are interesting to you. But remember, they have options. There's a lot of junior developers or people who are completely self-taught or stuff like that that aren't really, they don't have those 5 years or 1 to 5 years. There's actually quite a few of these people. So you're kind of trying to figure out a way here to stand out a little bit. Now, the best ways to stand out is usually by doing something that is worth putting on your CV. If you're taking extra Udemy courses, maybe you start up a separate open source project or something like that where you build some tools or something like that, something that is fairly serious, that's going to go over really well. Try to avoid doing too many of these very small toy projects where you make a little to-do app or a little simple CLI that, I don't know, a calculator or things like that. That's not very impressive to most of the software companies, because it's like the most basic stuff that you can imagine, and there's quite a lot of people who are doing that. So try to focus on things that are as close as possible to real software development. Real software development is about making tools that actually do something. It can be a web shop that actually is used, like actually sells products. It can be a, I don't know, it can be a computer game. It doesn't really matter what exactly it is. Find your niche, find your thing that is working for you, and try to get some serious time invested into that thing so you can showcase it on your CV. Now, once you have that, you can also fill up with extracurricular stuff, as I was saying, Udemy courses. You can have a look at maybe starting a little blog or something like that and teaching other people the basics that you learn. You don't have to be a master programmer to start up a Medium account or a blog or whatever. I mean, shit, you can go and sit you've seen me in the bathtub maybe. Like you can do that. You know everything that you need to know. That's you start doing things like produce a presence that is worth showing somebody that you're doing things, you're engaged. And once that's done, you're going to go on the job hunt, and you're going to, if you're lucky, get a job fairly quickly. Otherwise, you're going to have to work a little bit for it. And the more you have on your CV and the better you are at communicating that you're a passionate developer, the better for you. Once you have gotten to that point, it's time for you to start thinking about which job do you want. Now, nothing is more important than getting actual work experience, so you should always prioritize getting a job rather than the perfect job. Don't focus, at least in the beginning, too much on how much you're getting paid, because if you take a job at a company where they have you do something really shitty or something really simple, even if they pay a little bit more, the skills that you gather that are relevant to the vast majority of the industry are more valuable than that initial paycheck. There are tons of developers today who after 10 years have almost no market value because they took a job when they were on their first year in a company where they do this bullshit little simple development, and they never really questioned why they got paid so much. It's most likely because the really serious developers don't want to work there. And now they have no market value. But the people who actually got the really important core skills, that really learned the foundation skills of the industry, they are worth tons of money, and they can pick where they want to work, because the industry has a massive demand for developers, but it has to be developers with the right type of experience. So your highest priority now is to find a semi-established software company that works in practices or with practices that are very relevant to the current way of doing work within the industry. So ideally that should be a company where you have some team members. You should ideally work in a team of a few people, and they should ideally be a little bit more experienced than you, so you can learn from them. That's going to set you up for a really good start. Once you have been doing that for a few years, you're going to be considered at the very least a mid-level developer, and you know that you're a mid-level developer when you can pretty much do what needs to be done in general terms, at the very least, without having to have someone sit next to you all the time, and you can kind of get stuff done on your own. That's when you're I would say now you are at the point where you are a professional developer and you're stable. Now here comes the next part of your career. Now you have to ask yourself, what is my long-term goal? Now you can stay as a mid-level developer, and you're at some point going to evolve into a senior or something like that. But after a while, you might start asking yourself, okay, maybe I want to do something different. You can go into, you can start up your own consultancy if you want to do that, if you want to run your own company. Usually after a little bit of training, it's actually, you can start a consultancy whenever you want, but in my experience, the consultants who do the best are usually the people who have a little bit of experience first, because as I said, you're not worth anything to the bigger companies unless you know how they do work. And a freelancer who's never worked in real IT companies will very seldomly know how the larger companies work. So you can start there, and then you can actually hire your own staff and do your own business thing. You can go in and become a tech lead or something like that. You can actually go management path and become a person who manages people within software, or you can become a technical expert. Maybe you're really passionate about some specific thing like DevOps or machine learning. I don't know, it can be front end, back end, things like that, and go really deep into that. So those sorts of things become really relevant for you once you have a little bit of basic training. I like to call it boot camp training. From my perspective, it's very similar to going through a military career. You have to get some basic training before we can make you and mold you into something that is more advanced. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you are in college and you're questioning your worth, don't let it get to you, because no developer is worth anything until they have 1 to 5 years of experience, and that goes for absolutely everybody. And once you get through that hurdle, by getting some stuff on your CV and showing that you have a passion for what you do, and you actually get a little bit of work experience. Try to find yourself a company where you will get a good, strong foundation and develop those core skills as much as you can. Because once those are there, you're a stable developer, you are a true professional, and then you can actually really look into going into different areas of programming. You can niche yourself, or you can start your own company. There's tons of stuff that you can do once you know for a fact that I kind of know what my stakeholders ask of me, and I can do most of the stuff that they want. That's, at least from my perspective, the stable way of getting a long-term career in IT. Have a great day.